Good afternoon, everyone. One second. Make sure everything is working perfectly fine. Well, nonetheless, I will get started. Yes, I am unable to see myself, but I know I look good. So as long as everyone can see me, that is what matters. Nonetheless, okay, perfect. Thank you so much for the reassurance. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to BIPOC Executive Search's monthly live. I am your host, Avery Jacqueline. I use they, he pronouns, and I am thrilled to be sharing space with all of you in this digital world. But before we do anything else, I would first like to acknowledge that I am currently located in Pickering, Ontario, which is situated on the ancestral and traditional territory of Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, and the Chippewa and Haudenosaunee and Wendat peoples. And you want to know how I know that, folks? I used this wonderful tool that I was introduced to by one of my friends from college called Native Land Digital. It is a free website where you can put in your exact location and it will let you know which lands you're situated on, what present and past languages were once spoken, as well as treaties from anywhere in the world. An excellent resource. Now, this is important to me because while Truth and Reconciliation Day has passed and our municipal election had also just passed this week, we have a lot of work to do to right the wrongs that have tarnished the traditions, the livelihood, and survival of the Indigenous people in Canada. You see, my team and I, who you will meet in a second, have the honor to collectively complete RBC's Reconciliation Education course. And folks, what a learning experience. So I encourage you to learn more and do your part because it is on this very land that we like to call home that the folks who own this land are living in heartbreaking conditions due to colonization and structural injustices every single day. Now, speaking of learning more, have you ever been sitting in your room or in your car, on the subway, or at your desk thinking, man, I sure would love to listen to something, but music would be just too distracting and I don't want to sit in silence? Well, look no further because our firm has launched our very own podcast. Yes, folks, it is entitled Interviews, where twice a week you'll be welcomed into the minds of my team members, our conversations, as we speak about everything from workplace dynamics to career building, mental health, food, culture, and so much more. So without any further ado, please, folks, put your hands together for the first half of the cast of Interviews, the podcast. Welcome, everyone. There we go. Now I can see all your beautiful faces. Technology. Don't we just love her? I am going to kindly ask you all to say your name, your pronouns, and what the title of your show is. And we're going to go clockwise. So I'm going to start with Shirley on my right.
Thank you, Avery. Feels so good to be contained by you and your presence. My name is Shirley Lay, she, her. I'm a partner at BIPOC Executive Search. The name of my YouTube podcast series is In Community with Shirley Lay.
Thank you. Candace.
Hi, everyone. Happy to join you today. I'm Candace Frederick. I use she, her pronouns, and the podcast that Shirley and I worked on together is called Soul Care.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Candace. Lori.
Ani, hello everyone. My name's Lori Toulouse, she, her pronouns. So excited to be in the presence of all of you and Avery as well. That intro was amazing, resource too for everyone watching today. So Chimegwich for that. And so podcast that I'm a part of with my colleague Zoe is Chats and Charcuterie.
Amazing. To my left with the heart sweater.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erica, she, her pronouns. And the show that I partnered with Stephanie Law here is called Breakfast Foods Around the World.
Amazing. And above Erica is...
I guess that is I. Thank you all for sharing space today, folks. My name is Zoe, they, them pronouns, and I am the other half of Chats and Charcuterie with Lori.
And above Zoe is...
Hello, I'm Olivia. I made a podcast called Stripped Simple, and we'll be sharing more about that with you later.
Amazing. And to the right of Olivia is...
Hi, Stephanie Law, she, her pronouns, and I am the co-host with Erica on Breakfast Foods Around the World.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that first half of the cast of interviews. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. And we're just going to ask a few questions just so that our audience can get just a little bit of a sneak peek of what's to come for some of the shows. Now, if I'm not mistaken, a few of these shows have actually already uploaded. So Shirley, your show has also been out. Congratulations. Lori and Zoe, your show came out. And our wonderful colleague, Jesse, who's unable to join us today, his show also came out called A Healthy Imagination. So shout out to Jesse. If you're watching, we love you and we miss you very, very much. So we're just going to start from Stephanie. The first question that I want to know is, what was the inspiration, or rather even your inspiration, behind your show?
Thanks, Avery. Everybody at the firm knows I have a huge passion for food, as does my co-host Erica, which is why we partnered on it together, which she will share her bit on that. The reason why the inspiration to focus on breakfast foods in general is that it came from me going on vacation and going to various hotels and realizing that, we're often encountering continental breakfasts, or what people class as continental breakfasts. And if I set that term to everybody here, what do you all think of? You think of toast, you think of eggs, you think of sausages, you think of those things, and you can find that globally. But to be honest, it really appeals to the Western diet. And we wanted to explore more than just that. Different regions of the world eat different things. And there's no such thing, in our opinion, as a standardized breakfast or what people should be eating. So yeah, that was the inspiration behind doing breakfasts specifically.
I am muted. I was thinking about this the other day while I was, preparing, and I was just thinking, for Stephanie and Erica's show, folks, when you're listening to it or watching it, I encourage you to only listen and watch it while you're having lunch, because you will be hungry, and you don't want to be hungry. So I encourage you to when you're on lunch break, gather your friends and get some good food and watch while they also enjoy some good food. To the left, Olivia, I'm curious to know, while your show has not launched yet either, what was your inspiration behind the show?
Honestly, it was pretty hard. I have a lot of interest. And when I was asked, hey, you want to make a podcast? And what do you want to make it about? I was like, sure. And then I was just like, I have no idea. So it took a lot of brainstorming and I came up with a bunch of things that I liked. And then eventually I decided on like skincare, aromatherapy, things like that. And, you know, how it intersects with like self-care. So I thought, all right, that'll do.
That's really, really, really important, and a great topic. And I think it's a really good topic because I remember I recently just, invested into my own skincare routine, and I didn't realize how much of an impact that does to have on your day. I mean, the difference between having a skincare routine and not having a skincare routine can really be the difference between having a good day and a bad day. And I really do mean that. And now that I have my toners and I have my lotion, my sunscreen. Yes, folks, I have my sunscreen. I just feel so refreshed and so ready to start my day and even going to bed. It's a really, really great thing to add. So I'm really looking forward to listening to that, Olivia. Zoe.
Yeah, am I cool to partner up with Lori on this one? Is that okay with you, Avery?
Absolutely.
All right, lovely. Lori, how do you feel if we both tackle this one together in terms of what inspired us for our podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I can start off. Well, chats and charcuterie, first of all, talking with wine was already taken. So we had to be a little bit more creative. And so since we love food, specifically charcuteries, some, nice delicatessen, some nice gourmet cheeses, right? So we thought, how can we talk about it? Something, right? And for me, one of the big parts of what I want to talk about is for other groups of individuals getting into the workforce, not just us as a firm, the individuals we represent, but individuals coming from university, individuals who are making their way into leadership, and then talking about those questions that people don't usually want to talk about. So, it can be a little difficult. And so I'll pass it to you, Zoe. Share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for starting us off. It was a great intro. Yeah, like Lori mentioned, a lot of it came from us already having many conversations over charcuterie boards, but also in the essence of speaking on conversations that might be difficult to speak about in the workplace, or things that you usually take a lot of space in a very technical or academic language type of way. We wanted to have those conversations, but in more approachable ways. So as Lori mentioned, thinking about the younger generations entering workforces, about folks coming out of university and entering workforces, what are pieces that individuals are experiencing that we might not have enough conversation about, and how can we make those conversations digestible and approachable for folks? So that would be our answer, Avery. Thank you so much.
Digestible and approachable. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And also, yeah, it's so important to just initiate conversations. And I'm so glad that you both are facilitating those conversations, because both of you are such great people to lead those. So congratulations on that. Erica, I know Stephanie already kind of gave a little bit of a sneak peek, or rather I should say taste of what your show is about, but I would love to know more from your point of view.
Thank you, Avery. And I love your tip to our audience. I also encourage everyone who would be listening or watching our show to eat with us. So I guess for, my inspiration, it's a little personal for me for this show. But I'm sure many people could relate to this. So I grew up in Toronto, and my parents are immigrants from China. Growing up, the food that I brought to school, whether it be my breakfast, my lunch, or my snacks, it was usually different from what my peers would bring to school. So oftentimes I would feel a little embarrassed, and sometimes wouldn't even eat my food because, my peers would look at it funny, or, make certain comments that were not so nice. And at a young age, I was affected by it. I did begin to believe that my food was gross, even though it was what I grew up eating and enjoyed. So through this show, we're hoping that we could introduce and familiarize others with the different kinds of foods that are enjoyed around the globe and the different ways of cooking.
Wow. A little text to self connection, a text to world connection. I love that. And I'm so glad this show is an opportunity for you to share and eat and be happy, essentially. And last but certainly not least, Candace.
Sure, I'll start, and if you want to weigh in, Shirley, jump in. I'll invite that. Maybe the first thing I'll say is that whenever I'm talking to Shirley, it feels like we're in a podcast all the time. So it seemed pretty natural to take conversations that we've been having about well-being, people of the global majority, intersectionality, and kind of riff off of each other. And I think it was really important to keep the style conversational and approachable, and to also just use storytelling. So, you know, I grew up in a family where lots of ways that information is passed on is through the sharing of stories and experience. And so I think it was important for us to do what we do naturally. But for me personally, also, it touches on my heritage and where I come from, and those oral traditions, which it's not unique to me and, you know, coming from like Grenada and the Caribbean, but lots of people of the global. So I think taking those pieces and then, you know, using them to dissect, to understand, to ask each other questions, and inviting that kind of curiosity, but also inviting analysis. So I think it's all of those things.
That sounds like, in a weird way, it sounds academic, but it doesn't sound intimidating. And it sounds like I would walk away learning so much, but also feel like I was a part of the conversation, even though I wasn't there. So that's brilliant. And surely I would also love to know more about your show as well.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Avery. And thanks, Candace, for sharing your thoughts. I don't have too much more to add to that. So I'll save the rest of the time talking about my series In Community with Shirley Lay. I'm always thinking about human growth and development, evolution. How do we transform as human beings? How do we connect to every part of our personhood and continue to grow on a daily basis? And so through my series, I talk a lot about the learning that I've gleaned from other elders and wisdom holders. I cite a lot of their work, and I curate it in a way that it's funneled through my own lived experience as a woman of color, and as a person who identifies as being part of a collectivistic culture. And so for those of the audience members who might share the same identity or have an interest in understanding the world from those perspectives, then I invite you all to tune in.
Wow. Thank you so much, Shirley. And yes, you do. You always bring the knowledge and you bring the text, I think, to life. And I think sometimes it's so hard when you have such complex stories and things to share. You have this talent of being able to break it down and make it digestible. So thank you so much for bringing this show to life, and we do look forward to listening to it and listening more to it because it already is out. So folks, listen to episode 1. Do it. Moving forward, our next question is, and you could answer it however you want. You could answer it in one word. You could answer it in a brief sentence or so. Essentially, what do you hope for the audience to take away from your show? So I'll start back at Shirley and go back around.
Awesome, thank you. I guess my wish is to do what you're doing here, Avery, is to give people a moment to be contained, to be held, and to be fed some stories. Even if it's just for 10 minutes of your day and then you gotta go, you deserve it in terms of the time and space to be held in that way with good nourishment, good knowledge, good stories. So I'll leave that there.
Amazing. And Candace?
Thanks for that question, Avery. Maybe I'll just say that, every moment is a political moment. Politics doesn't just sit over there. And so I think that's one of the takeaways, as well as it may be trite, but your stories matter, whatever they are. And that stories and experiences can really transform us and influence us in the way that we see the world.
Thank you so much, Lori, and also Zoe, if you guys also want to team on this question as well.
Thanks, Avery. Yeah, so if you want to hop into, I'll quickly say, yeah, for people to listen would be awesome, but also ask questions. I think asking yourself questions, asking questions of your coworkers, your place of work, really understanding, and definitely with listening to all the other podcasts, you get a basis, find your inner thrivance from Shirley. If you listen to the first episode, have all these tools, you'd be prepared for breakfast with Erica and Stephanie, and then ask yourself some more questions in the workplace. I'll pass it to you, Zoe, to add anything.
Thanks so much, Lori, and thanks for this question, Avery. I would mention that one thing that I would like folks to take away are any tidbits that might resonate with you, or that you might be interested in applying to either personal life or your professional life. We have a lot of different topics that we speak about in all our podcasts, and some include creating boundaries or navigating burnout, preserving communal spaces, envisioning career moves, and where you're currently at within your career. And these conversations sometimes might be difficult to even speak to yourself about and to embody within your own being, let alone to have collective conversation about. So whatever resonates with you, I would say hold that and cradle that. That would be my one takeaway.
Thank you so much, both of you, for that. Erica, I'll come back to you.
Thanks, Avery. So for me, it's really simple. I hope that our audience discovers new food through our show and continues to appreciate and respect food from all origins.
I love that. And Olivia.
Thank you. Like Erica's, mine is pretty simple as well. I would just like to share some ways that people can take care with and of themselves with, just the knowledge that I have here, and you have the option to use it how you wish.
And Stephanie.
I guess this could apply to everybody's podcast, but to all of our viewers, please bring a judgment-free mindset.
What I'm hearing from all these shows is there's a level of participation. It's definitely not a one-sided activity, as I feel like a lot of podcasts and shows are. It's more just as a viewer. What I think what we're doing here as a team, which is so wonderful, is that we're inviting people into the conversation and inviting you to participate and reflect. And I encourage you as well as listeners to not only go with a judge-free mindset, but also to respond. Feel free, I would say as well, to message the folks that have these shows. Let us know, were you touched? What did you feel? Did you not feel anything? What did you like? What didn't you like? Because in all things, it's a community, right? And in community, we're able to grow and become better. So our very last question that I have, we're going to answer in one word very quickly. This is a surprise question. So do not panic, but it's very, very brief. If you could let me know, or let our audience know, if you could be a guest on any of the shows, whose would it be? In this panel or in the one coming after? I'll start with Stephanie.
No. Oh, I can't choose. I had two in mind. One from this group, and this is not to say it to say that I wouldn't join anybody else's. Like, I'm just making it clear. Lori and Zoe's. And for the other group, Chad.
Ooh, great choice, great choice. Okay, Olivia.
That's a hard question. I think I would go with Steph and Erica's because I really like to eat.
Okay, Zoe.
This is a really tough one. My mind immediately jumped either to Shirley, mainly because I think that the knowledge and wisdom you share, particularly in this realm, is just unmatched. And I think I could just listen to it over and over and over again, less of myself participating almost and just more bouncing back and forth. But I do have to be a little bit biased, being a culinary artist. Erica and Steph, please welcome me. I'm here if you want to talk about food at any point in time or just eat. That's a great question, though, Avery. Thank you.
Well, hopefully there will be a season 2. So maybe season 2 will have some guest stars on our shows. Erica.
You're all invited. I think it would be Melissa's. If I'm not wrong, I believe she does have some meditating exercises, and I'm always down for that.
I love that. Lori.
Yeah, this one's a hard one. But I feel like I would like to participate in Helen and Irmala's with some of that focus, maybe something to do with ESG and sustainability and different pieces. So it's a hard call, but I think all of them, I think I would learn so much. And I would love to be a participant in. Thanks.
That's wonderful. Yes. And Candace.
That's a tough one between maybe like food and body care. So definitely breakfast food sounds so intriguing. So Steph and Erica, hopefully they will invite me for season 2. And then I love Olivia's concept around like body care and skin care and all of those things. So it would be, maybe I could be a guest on both.
Food seems to be the pattern here. I guess you all love to eat. I mean, who doesn't love to eat, right? And Shirley.
Thanks, Avery. What a fun question. So since Lori and Zoe's episode is out, and given that I studied it, and I couldn't keep, and it's on mentorship, so everyone go watch it, but I couldn't keep my eyes off of the charcuterie board right in between them. And I was envisioning my head in between eating the food while I'm listening. So their show.
Amazing. Well, folks, I want to just thank you for sharing space with me as we talked more about this exciting journey that I think our firm is taking on. I think as one of the many things that you'll hear from our team in the second half, our firm is not afraid to go big. And I think this opportunity that we have given and we're sharing with the world is a reflection of that. And that I think we all bring such diverse views to the world. And I'm excited for our interviews to become outer views. Ooh. It's been a pleasure, folks. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Have a great rest of your day. And folks, don't go anywhere as we will have the second half of the cast of interviews coming right up. Thank you so much. Take care. Amazing. And as we just get ready to transition, folks, I'm going to talk a little bit about my show. And because I'll be wondering, this wonderful host who has so much to say, I'm sure he has a show of his own. And you are absolutely correct. It is called Let Courage Be Your Guide. Because I think we've all heard the phrase, let your conscience be your guide. But this time I decided to say, let courage be your guide. And that's why, because this show is an opportunity to challenge, reflect, and deconstruct and strategize the common fears that I think we face in the workplace and redefine what that means to be courageous. So recognizing that many of the fears we face are rooted in colonialism and labeled as quote unquote professionalism, I firmly believe that when we create habits that enable us to be courageous, we empower ourselves and grow as humans. You see, I believe that fear is intersectional. As the fears that we face as a marginalized person, meaning as a BIPOC individual or those of the 2S LGBTQ community, or identify, say, as women in the workplace, it's different as from those who, for example, are not as systemically oppressed. Courage can be practiced in our everyday lives, and even in the tasks that seem mundane, or we believe that there is room for growth. And so some of the topics that we touch on include the fear of being an imposter, that imposter syndrome, the fear of making a mistake, and the fear of self-advocacy. These are all three topics that, as a young person who's joining the workforce, I've experienced, whether that was through my post-secondary, whether that was through my first job that I ever had when I was 16, or even as I continue through this wonderful firm, as we grow and we learn as human beings. So I encourage you to also listen to my show called Let Courage Be Your Guide. It's also going to be a visual and an audio podcast. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I will be serving you lots of books, and it's going to be a great time. So tune in when that is released. Now, moving forward, we have the second half of the cast of interviews joining us today, and they will be sharing as well as their inspiration and also what their hope is for you, the audience, to take away. Such exciting shows coming your way. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the second half of the cast of interviews. Hello, everyone. Wow, such beautiful faces on this rainy day, but look at that. So much sunshine radiating from my screen. I would just like to briefly go around, and if you all could kindly say your names, your pronouns, and what's the title of your show. We're going to go in a clockwise. So I'm going to start with Chad.
Thanks so much, Avery. Chad Stauber here, he, him pronouns. I'm the senior technical writer and data analyst at BIPOC Executive Search. Yep, there I am.
Amazing. And to the right, we have... Does anyone know? It's Helen.
Oh, it's me. Because I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, to whose right? Is it your right?
Oh,
or is it
my
mine?
right. Good point.
Hello, everybody. Helen McConan, partner, she, her pronouns, and the title of the podcast that I co-host with the wonderful Urmila Khan is The Kind Futurist.
Amazing. And below Helen, we have...
I think that's me, so I'm just going to jump in. So Jason Murray, he, him, his pronouns, founder, president, managing partner here at BIPOC Executive Search. And my show is entitled Work, W-E-R-K, and Work, W-O-R-K.
Amazing. And below Jason, we have Ermi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Urmila Khan. I use she, her pronouns. Please forgive my voice. And I'm a partner here at BIPOC Executive Search, and along with fabulous Helen, as she already introduced, we talk about future and what it means to be kind.
Amazing. And to my left of Urmila, we have Tak.
Hi all, sat sri akal. Mera naam Takhtir Kaur Pandal hai. My name is Tak Bandel. I use she, her pronouns. I'm also a partner at BIPOC Executive Search, and the title of my podcast is Wellness and Work.
Amazing. And now above Tak, we have...
Here I am.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Sumnath. I use pronouns she, her, and L. I am a partner here at BIPOC Executive Search, and the title of my podcast is called Just Pause.
Just pause. And above Melissa, we have the one, the only.
Stacey Ann Buchanan here. She, her pronouns. I'm the director of marketing and content, and my podcast is called The Chronicles of a Soft Black Girl.
Amazing. And before Stacey Ann, you mute yourself for a second, I just want to redirect our attention back to the efforts that you have put into curating this wonderful show. And if you wouldn't mind, I'm so curious to know, how did this all come about? And what was your partake in all of this, if you don't mind sharing with our lovely viewers?
Yeah, sure. So I act as the producer of the show. So I pitched the idea to Jason, and Jason speaks my language because Jason goes big, right? And so when we think about the firm, we're not an ordinary firm. We wanted to do something where, well, when we do our lives and I see how our team members interact, how we speak, I'm like, there is way too many gems to be kept here. We need to share this to the world. And we all come with our own thing. And I wanted to create a platform where we can all share that and share that individually and share our passions, because the world needs to see this. And so creating and producing this variety podcast show was so much fun. And I just want to say to everyone at the firm, thank you so much for trusting me, first of all, with this vision. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming in and showing up and showing out. And that was the vision behind that. We're doing big things. We're doing books. We're doing podcasts. We're doing it all. And so I wanted to create a space where our podcast is also building our community, and we are in community, and to get our community to know that we have different aspects of us, and to just feel us out. So that was the inspiration behind pitching this great idea, interviews, podcast. So yeah, thank you, Jason. I think Jason was the one that came up with the name, and we wanted to just the views of all of us here in BIPOC Executive Search. So yeah.
Well, we thank you, Stacey Ann, because you truly are a star, and you made us all feel like a star. I mean, coming to set that day, having the cameras and the mics and the lights and that was my first time using a teleprompter. It's the little things that you do that make us all feel so special. So thank you for being you, and thank you for the work that all you do. Now, jumping into some of the questions that I think our viewers would love to know more about, we're all curious to know, and we'll start back at you, Stacey Ann, if you don't mind. What was the inspiration behind your show?
I'm going through this phase in my life where I am learning to decolonize my mind. And that word is so huge. And like someone referred to me as decolonization is taking a pot of soup and trying to remove the ingredients from a pot of soup individually. And so one part of me is I used to be the hustle queen. I will take any jobs. I'm always working all the time. And I realized that hustle culture is so detrimental to my mental health, my emotional health. And I no longer wanted to stay in that place. I wanted to stay in a space where I wanted to live a soft life. I wanted to be in a space where it's not just about self-love, but it's also about self-appreciation. And Black women tend to wear this heavy load all the time. I mean, the strong Black woman syndrome or terminology is so devastating and so detrimental to our mental health, because we seem to think that strong is something that you can carry this load. And no, your strength is measured by what you choose to put down. And so I wanted to talk to Black women in a sense where you don't have to carry a hard life. You don't have to feel like your struggles defined you, right? Or struggle is a part of your success story. We can be soft. And so I wanted to create a space where I myself is evolving, and I wanted to create it where Black women can feel appreciated and feel love, and give them their flowers, their so well-deserved flowers. And also the most important thing was letting them know that rest is not a reward, it is a requirement. And also listen, we don't need to be booked and busy. We need to be paid and peaceful, okay? And I wanted to put that across the board, and also having this sense about yourself, like it is okay, and also setting boundaries. And I also want to say one thing. Doing this podcast, I really want to shout out our the company that we worked with to produce these podcasts. His name is Jesse, and I'm just going to pull up his info. His name is Jesse Wilson, and his company is called Digital Media Legacy, and it's about creating content that connects, engage, and inspire. And his studio is located at 44 Dufferin Street in North York. And let me tell you something, Jesse did it. Jesse really did it, and it was just so great to have his to just have his work and being a part of our network. So yeah, I hope that answered your question, Avery. I think it was long, but yeah.
I think you answered my question. I think you also gave me motivation for the rest of the week and the month and the year. So hello. Paid and peaceful. Let's talk about it. Woo! I had to almost hold myself from screaming just now. Amen. And Melissa, to you, what was your inspiration behind your show?
You know, it's so interesting how there's interconnectedness by what CCN has shared. What are we calling it? Cast number one? Is that what we call it? Yeah. Okay. Has shared as well. So mine is Just Pause, and it's a series that's related to meditative practices. The why behind that, you know, we live in a time where it is fast. That too much, too fast, too soon. So that is a part of it around, you know, especially for folks that are in Indigenous and racialized communities, we tend to need to outperform, which, you know, our colleague Candace had mentioned. It means that we have to do 2 times as much. And when we do that, you know, it takes a toll on us 2 times as much. So bringing in some of these somatic approaches that can help us center and anchor and just take a moment to pause can really help us, I think, throughout the day. So that's in a nutshell what mine's about.
Thank you so much. And then Tak, what was your inspiration?
Yeah, thanks so much, Avery, for the question, and everyone for your responses so far. I'm learning so much. 2 sort of pieces that informed why I chose my podcast. The first one is that we all spend so much time at work. Like, most of our waking hours we spend at work. And I find, as a social construction, we sort of compartmentalize work and then pleasure. So for me, if we're going to be spending so much time at work, how do we make it pleasurable? How do we engage in wellness while we work? So a lot of my podcast episodes are around sort of creating that sense of positivity and inspiration and motivation and fueling your passion while at work. The second was, each of my podcasts has a story about my life. And I grew up in the not most pleasant of environments. And so I definitely rarely shared about my personal life or what was going on at home with the people around me. So this was my way of sort of sharing a little bit about myself. I love storytelling, and Stacey Ann always reminds us about the importance of storytelling. So that's another reason is folks can tune in and hear some of my stories as well.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing with us. I think, as we all are, I think the most amazing thing about these shows is that we're really laying it on the line. And I think we're really giving the audience an opportunity to see us for more than just professionals, seeing us as the people that we are behind the screens, you know, behind the meetings, you know, behind the titles that we hold and the degrees that we have. Behind all those things, there are people who have stories to share. And I'm so blessed to be able to be a part of this opportunity that we have. Urmila, what was your inspiration behind your show?
Yeah, so I'll start off, and Helen, feel free to jump in if I croak or so for us, I mean, a large part of the work that we do is centered around diversity and everybody bringing their whole selves to their roles, just like we're doing in this podcast. And I think when we look at organizations and how investing or profitability is viewed, a lot of times it's taken financially, but organizations, companies are also connected. We're all connected globally. And so as we're working on more board director searches, we're looking at the what stakeholders, and besides stakeholders, just everyone, you know, how is everyone acclimatizing? What is the impact that these organizations are having on the environment socially from a governance aspect? How does that help biodiversity? You know, how is it all connected? And what does being wealthy really mean? Is it about investing in dollars, which we all need? Or is it about investing in a healthy future for us and down the road for generations? So I'll pause there for now. Helen?
Yeah, thanks for starting us. For starting, Urmila. I think additional elements that I would add in terms of the inspiration is the type of work that we do, and so we do hear about sustainability on a regular basis, not only by what we see in the news in terms of climate change, etc., but really in the conversations that we have with the community, and so our candidate community, but also our client community as well.
Amazing. And I look forward to listening to more about that and learning so much about the business world and how it contributes to everything that we do. Jason, what was the inspiration behind your show?
Oh, thanks so much for that question, Avery. So the inspiration behind the name was just to make sure that people can see that talking about some heavy subjects, we also have to try to find balance and joy. So the WER work is for that, but then got to get to work, WORK. So I talk about a range of topics. So everything from how to ace that interview to being a respected leader to increasing belonging in the workplace. And what inspired me to do it is a lot of people come to our firm for these purposes, to learn through us how they can show up more effectively, how they can actually take on leadership and do it successfully. And it's not always about only giving people that information if they can pay our firm for it. I really wanted to make sure that we can have it as accessible as possible and make sure that people leave with some good tips.
Amazing. Work and work. Exactly. Exactly. And last but not least, Chad.
Thanks, Avery. I'm just realizing I didn't even say the name of my podcast, which is actually a word in 60 seconds. So what my podcast was looking at is this: we have a project at BIPOC Executive Search right now. We have an EDI lexicon and thesaurus, which has been developed, and it's going to be an ongoing project. So part one of this book, it's both going to be an online resource. It's also going to be a printed form. So the first part is actually an EDI, so equity, diversity, inclusion lexicon, going through various terms within this field. And then the second part is a thesaurus, which is kind of an innovation where we essentially look at problematic words and expressions in English and offer alternatives. So what the podcast was going to do or is starting to do is basically me introducing some of these problematic words, explaining why they might be problematic, and then offering a potential alternative to those expressions. So it's a way of us starting to step back and look at our language. For myself, being an academic, my background's in sort of the academic world, I love picking things apart, in particular language and stories and various things in history. So going into this direction and picking apart language was just right up my alley. So it was something I get really, really excited about, even though it might seem boring to some. But I think it's actually quite fascinating to step back and actually look at our language and think twice about some of the words that we use.
Amazing. I always say that language is such a key component, or the key component to the human experience. We feel, but it's one thing to feel, and it's another thing to say how we feel. And I think that is truly what makes the world go around, And I just want to ask, I think because a few of you or all of you had kindly already shared, I think, through your explanations, shared as to why this show is important. So folks, if you have the opportunity, please listen to all these shows. To all my wonderful cast members here, if you could just say in one word, or I guess not one word, I guess you could say who, if you could be a guest on any show from this cast and this panel or from the previous panel, whose show would it be? I'll start with Helen.
It's got to be food. So I'm going to go with Zoe and Lori.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Jason.
Such a hard question because there's so many good shows, but I'm not going to actually pick Zoe and Lori just because I feel like there's going to be too much people around the charcuterie. I'm not going to get any food, nor am I going to do Erica and Steph. Same thing. I ain't going to get no food. So let me actually go to another extreme, and maybe I will join Chad and we'll both just sip on tea and we'll look at all of those wonderful books and we'll just talk about problematic words and try to fix this world.
Incredible. Urmila.
I say let's take Erica's and Steph's show on the road. Let's actually go to those countries where they're, interacting with some of those foods. And I'm there, and we could talk about ESG in that country while we're there.
World tour. I'm telling you, season 2, folks. We're gonna have a world tour. We're gonna have a book tour. We're gonna have a live show. Get ready. We're on the road, folks. Get ready. Get your tickets now. Tack.
Yes, I will be in business class with Urmila and Erica and Steph on their show. They definitely have a fan club going on, so I have to choose that one for the food as well.
Amazing. And Melissa.
I think I might get into some soul care. I think I might get into that conversation with Candace and Shirley. I think that the resource sharing that comes through in those conversations is really powerful as well. So that would be mine.
And Stacey Ann.
Yeah, so I want to say that I think I've been a part of everybody's show because I've been in the studio with you all filming, so I can be like, I've been a part of it. You know what? Why didn't I think of this? It's a great question. I will join Melissa. I will join Melissa and meditate and just let it all in. So yeah.
And then Chad.
Yes, I think for my own sanity, I would probably go to Melissa's show as well, so I can meditate and relax and calm my mind, which is often far less calm than I would like it to be.
Amazing. And I'll share briefly. I would like to be a part of Jesse's show, The Healthy Imagination. I think as somebody who grew up with a very, very broad imagination and so many, thoughts, it would be cool to learn how to control that and harvest that and take care of that. Zoe uses the word cradle that, and I love that word. So I'd like to be a part of Jesse's show one day if you were to have me on. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. As we discussed what I think will be such an incredible experience for not only us as a team, but I think for the world and those that are supportive of us and those who have not learned about us yet, as this show will be, I think, a part of our legacy. I am just so grateful to be a part of this team. I'm grateful to be able to be an artist at work, right? As Tack said, we're not only just our professionals, we also have a personal life, and it's important to play and have fun. And so I'm so glad to be a part of a place that allows me to do that. As I mentioned before, folks, if you have the opportunity, respond as you reflect through these shows. Let us know, what are your thoughts? What are you learning? What have you learned? What more would you like to see? And as always, folks, you can find the show and all our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, comment. I've always wanted to do that. And follow us on LinkedIn and all our socials. That includes Instagram, I believe Facebook, as well as Twitter, yes, and TikTok, YouTube. We're all there. We're all there for you. One other special shout out to Jesse, who created this and was part of this wonderful show while he's not there. Thank you, Jesse, for putting this show and helping us put the show together with the editing and the recording. You are such a wonderful artist and a creative, and we are so grateful for you. Well, folks, it's been a pleasure. And I wish you a wonderful week. I wish you a wonderful rest of this month as we wrap up October and move into November. Have a great rest of your day. And that's all from me. So goodbye, take care, and all things in community. Goodbye.